apparently what this visualization is showing is that France's longest border is with Brazil. Okay, let's learn about the world through some data visualizations. So this first visualization is 3 in 1. First, we see that just 8 countries have more than half the land. When it comes to the people, just 7 countries have more than half the people. And 3 countries have more than half the world's money. US, China, and Japan. And the next one's just a bit of a fun one, looking at the ratio between sea and land at different latitudes. And it starts looking at the world as we know it, and then it moves it all across, stacks up all the land like they were bricks, to show that most of the geography at the top of the world is actually land, not sea. If you're like me and you grew up seeing the world a certain way, seeing this really changes your perspective. So this takes the world Mercator projection, which has basically been created by taking a spherical image of the globe and making it flat. And what it does is take the actual land shape and size and overlays it on top of that map. You can see that Russia is actually far smaller than it actually is. Same with Greenland, Iceland, Canada, US, and a lot of the European countries. While Africa and a lot of South America are actually quite true to size. So let's now look at flags. What this map does, it takes the average color of flags by latitude. So if you look at the top of the map, you can see it's a bit more red. As you go down, you can see it going a lot more purple. And then as we go down further, it's getting a bit more green and a lot more earthy colors. As we go down, you see it gets more blue again. Now moving on to stars, so stars feature in a lot of flags, and here it plots all the flags with the star on it and where they appear. So for me, I've always associated stars appearing in the top corner of a flag, but really looking at this visualization, you see that most stars appear right in the middle. This is the number of languages by number of speakers worldwide, and it breaks it down by primary language and then secondary, so your second language. And what you can see, that English is the most spoken language in the world. But what's interesting is that actually more people speak English as a second language than they do as a first language. And in second place is Mandarin Chinese, but if you were looking at the language that was the most spoken based on it being a first language, then Mandarin Chinese comes way at the top. Then we're followed by Hindi, Spanish, French, Standard Arabic, which is almost purely a second language. So let's jump from looking at the world to looking at some cities. And what this visualization does, it plots the world's most popular cities around the world from 1500 to present day. But what we'll do, we'll just quickly have a look at key moments. So let's start with 1500. And you can see that Beijing is the most populous city in the world, followed by, I'm going to get this wrong, Vijayanagar. You can see it's very much Asia in the Middle East that are the most popular. Come 1700, Istanbul's still up there. Just seeing Tokyo becoming one of the biggest cities in the world. London and Paris there as well. And by 1800, you can see all the bars are green and pink. It's basically Europe, China, and Japan that have the most popular cities in the world. Skip forward 100 years and you see London right at the top. But now you're seeing some orange bars, which are US cities, so New York and Chicago. By the year 2000, that shift has completely changed again, with Tokyo being by far the most populous city in the world. And let's just let it play out for the last years as you see the Indian cities really shoot up, as well as a couple of other Chinese cities. And there we go. And sticking on cities, this map looks at Airbnb guest location ratings for a selection of European cities. And what this tells you is where you should go and where you shouldn't go. So we'll start with London, and you can see that the west of London is very much where all the higher ratings are. Paris, everywhere is great, it looks like, apart from the real north. And Berlin, pretty much everywhere as well, a bit in the north, it's a bit more negative. Then you've got some really interesting ones. So if you look at Rome, you can see that really it's the centre that you're going to want to stay in. So this next one is more a piece of art. And what it quite simply does is shows the vegetation intensity throughout the year for Africa. And it's kind of like a heart beating. So this one shows what a great job South Korea has done over the past 50 years when it comes to developing its economy. This first map, we see that this is the year 1970. Everything in blue has a higher gross domestic product per capita than South Korea. Basically, people are more wealthy on average. And let's fast forward here 56 years, and you can see it's just a handful of countries in the world that have a higher GDP per capita than South Korea. Nice fun one to end with. So this is France, and we can see how long the borders are with each of the different countries. So France has a 659 kilometer border with Belgium, 623 with Spain. But apparently what this visualization is showing is that France's longest border is with Brazil. And that's because French Guiana in South America shares a 730 kilometer border with Brazil. So it's true.